What if I tell you that every medicine you have ever taken, from a simple painkiller to the life saving cancer drugs, they have all gone through a long, fascinating journey before they reach your hand? It's not magic, neither luck, but it's a years long battle, and sometimes it's a battle of decades that a drug goes through. And today we are going to discuss that how every drug fights its battles its way through the maze of tests, volunteers, scientists, and approvals, and most they don't survive, and those who survive will change the lives. Today we are going to discuss how does a new drug go from a scientist's notebook, from a eureka moment to saving millions of lives. We will be uncovering what happens in these mysterious clinical trials. Why do they take years or sometimes decades altogether? And how do we go from the lab to launch of a drug? And we will be discussing also what happens after a molecule is launched into the market. We are going to deep dive into the phases of clinical trials, breaking them down step by step, phrase by phrase, in a way that's so clear that you will feel like an expert by the end of this video. So stick around because you don't want to miss this at any cost. And if you are new to this video, subscribe to the channel, because first you will not miss the notification of such insightful videos, and second it helps the channel grow and reach more and more people, as the motto of this channel is to share free quality knowledge. So let's start our journey of breaking down the phases of clinical trials step by step. As you see on the screen, it all starts with the eureka moment in the scientist's mind. And then the scientists make it possible through toil and hard work in the lab, which will lead to then preclinical phase. We'll be discussing each phase in the coming slides. Next, the preclinical phase of the drug molecule. As the name suggests, it's just before the clinical part. And here's the deal: scientists may cook up a drug idea in a lab. Maybe it's a cure for a cancer, a new painkiller, or the next big anti aging pill. This all sound exciting, right? But hold on. Before we even think about testing it on humans, we need to ask three big questions. Starting with the first one: is it safe? Imagine inventing a new energy drink and giving it to your friend without knowing if it's harmless or if it will make them grow an extra limb. We can't take that risk, right? So first, scientific tests the drug in the test tubes, also called in vitro testing. They see how it reacts with the cells. Does it work or does it kill everything inside? Second question: does it work? A rocket might look cool on the paper, but if it explodes on its takeoff, it's useless. So after the takeoff, so called testing in the test tubes, we test the molecules on animals. Animals might range from mice to rodents, because, believe it or not, we share a lot in terms of genes with animals. And what they observe? They observe the change in the indicators like pain, cancer cells or what is not happening in their body, how their biomarkers are behaving, how their body reacting. And the third question they always ask is what's the right dose? Imagine you are cooking a pasta. Too little salt, tasteless. Too much salt, feels like you licked the ocean. Same thing with the medicine. Scientists need to find the perfect dose, one that works without poisoning the patient. They test different doses on the animals, carefully watching for organ damage, side effects, toxic effects, anything that is weird, which has not been expected. All this comprise of the preclinical phase of the drug development. That means they test whether the drug is safe for the body or not. They check whether the drug is efficacious or not. And most importantly, in this phase, they determine whether what is the right, effective, and safe dosage before the drug moves to the next stage, which is an important milestone for the life cycle of the drug. That is phase 1. Phase 1, that is also called as the first in man drug trials. First in man or phase 1 drug trials has single motto to test and evaluate the safety. It will be having a smaller group of patients. Most of the times, 20 to 100 healthy volunteers are recruited in this phase. They then undergo the safety testing, where the close monitoring will be undergone. The goal of this monitoring will be figuring out how the drug behaves in the body of the healthy volunteer and to check the side effect. Think of it like testing or test driving a new car. Before a manufacturer releases its brand new invention, it makes sure that they test drive. They need to check, does it run smoothly? Does it break down? Or are their brakes working? Everything works as they designed? Or is there a scope? They find that there is a scope to improve. They bring back that car into the factory and revamp, rework, and again release into the test drive. The similar way, in phase 1, the molecule is tested for safety, checking for side effects, and they check and evaluate the results of safety. If anything goes bad, or if they even get an iota of doubt regarding that safety in this phase, the drug would not move ahead in their life cycle. But if everything goes smooth as planned, the results are great, the human body shows no sign of adverse reaction or toxicity. If the drug shows promise in terms of safety, then the drug or the molecule moves to the second phase. That is the phase called phase 2. As we asked three questions, this phase answers the question which is second. Does this actually work? Now we have test drive the car. We have already tested it for safety, but it's the time to release it for the patients. Remember, phase 1 we had done with the healthy volunteers. Phase 2 starts with the patients who actually have this similar disease the molecule is intended to target or treat. This is where things start getting serious. Doctors don't just care if the drug is safe anymore, but they are more careful about its efficacy. This phase is so important where everything is evaluated in terms of its efficacy. They might be evaluating that how body is behaving, how the drug and disease interact at the molecular level. The drug and disease interaction determine its efficacy. They observe the outcome, observe every change in the body which happens after administration of the drug. Sometimes the patients also receive a placebo. A placebo is a empty drug. You can think of it as the false drug or a drug which does not have an effective molecule or API. These are administered to check whether the effect of the drug is actually because of the active ingredient of the drug, or is it just a psychological effect when the patient takes the molecule. And once the results are out, they are compared with one another, and they determine whether it was really the efficacy of a molecule or it was just because of the placebo effect. And if everything goes smooth in this phase of the trial, the molecule goes to the next step, that is the phase 3 of clinical trials. Now, phase 3 is the most important critical phase before the approval, because here we'll have the largest amount of volunteers, patients, or participants. And it's having thousands of patients across multiple countries, and so many sites are involved. When the trial begins, it's like flying an aeroplane through the turbulence, extreme weather, and every possible disaster scenario you can ever imagine. If the plane survives without crashing, then it's ready to go in the regulatory approval. Phase 3 takes years and cost millions of dollars. But if the results are good, the company submits all the data to US FDA or any regulatory agency of the country, and they apply for the approval. Now, in this phase, the drugs are being tested against the existing therapies, existing molecules, and they will evaluate how efficacious the drug is. Remember, safety, efficacy, and data integrity are core pillars of the clinical trials. In all the phases, safety is paramount. Whoever takes part in the clinical trial as a participant, volunteer, or a patient, their safety is utmost important. Then comes the data integrity. Whatever data is being generated, are they reliable? You all must have gone through the good documentation practice, and if you not have gone through, then let me know in the comment section that what are the most important parameters of the good documentation practices. But here we are discussing phase 3 trials where comparison with the existing treatments happen in the rigorous testing conditions. As I said, it will have multiple sites, sometimes multiple countries, diverse population, and rigorous process of statistical evaluation. And if it passes all the tests, then it goes through the approval cycle in the regulatory authority. And regulatory authority will evaluate the application, every data which has been submitted to regulatory, thoroughly checked. If required, an inspection or audit is triggered for the sponsor or a CRO or the sites. I hope you all are aware about the key stakeholders in the clinical research. And If you are not and want me to make a video about it, then just comment in this section because I read every comment, and I hope that you have checked the other videos of this channel where we have discussed so many important aspects, including all the job roles of clinical research. So I suggest you to go through all of them and share your feedback either in the comment section, or you all have, most of you have the number, or in the description you will find my LinkedIn profile. You can come, connect, interact, and discuss with me if you have any doubt. Let's move on to the video, and we are going to discuss the fourth stage. Remember, it's not over. Once the approval is in place, it's not over. There's always a regular monitoring. It's not the full stop when someone gets an approval for a drug molecule. It's an ongoing journey of a molecule or a drug from the scientist's eureka moment or an idea to the drugs in hands. Now, as you will be having the molecules as drugs in your hands, and it has taken long, long years, millions and billions of dollars after tons of testing, and the end result, which is worth your money and your life, there's a challenge that every molecule has. That every time someone administers a drug, a molecule, they have an obligation to report a side effect or an adverse drug reaction. All patients have access to such reporting. Remember, every time you bring home a drug, you have a leaflet inside the package. There you will find the description of how you will report such adverse events, side effects. The doctors who are treating are also responsible to submit such ideas through the websites to the portals of regulatory authorities, to sponsors, that what they observe, how the drug is behaving after launching it into the market in terms of their efficacy, side effects, safety, and if they cross a certain threshold, then the regulatory will take action. And sometimes they recall the batches of the molecules, and they need to do again the research and development, and they need to relaunch the molecule. Or many times the regulatory authority suggest or recommend or sometimes mandate the sponsor companies to let the molecule enter into the journey from the very beginning. Remember how it all started? The molecule will enter into the journey again if it finds to have the adverse effect beyond the threshold, even after coming to the market. I hope you have learned about the journey of a molecule from lab to launch. This is your clinical research mentor, Chintan NP Shade, and I keep on releasing the insightful videos on clinical research. As the channel name suggests, I simplify clinical research one topic at a time, one video at a time. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and share it to your network, because we are going to simplify clinical research one topic at a time. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, happy learning. Thank you.